Remember when we thought smartphones were cool? Now, we've got smart homes, smart cars, and even smart toilets. But let's talk about a gadget that's taken over millions of homes, the smart speaker. These voice-activated assistants like Amazon Echo and Google Home are incredibly handy. You can ask them for the weather, play music, or even control your lights. They're like having a personal assistant at your beck and call. But there's a catch. A slightly creepy catch. These devices are always listening. They need to be on the lookout for their wake word like Alexa or Hey Google to spring into action. This means they're constantly recording snippets of audio, analyzing if you've summoned them. It's a trade-off convenience for a bit of your privacy. Think of it like this. Imagine having a friend over who's always eavesdropping on your conversations. They only jump in when you mention their name, but they're always listening, nonetheless. A bit unsettling, right? That's the reality of smart speakers. They're incredibly useful, but their always-on nature makes them potential targets for hackers. And as we'll see, those hackers are getting pretty creative. The idea of a device constantly listening in your home might seem like something out of a spy movie, but the truth is, it's the reality we live in. Smart speakers, with their microphones always on, are designed to pick up your voice commands. The technology behind this is fascinating. These devices use sophisticated voice recognition software to analyze the sounds around them. They're trained to ignore background noise and conversations, only springing to life when they hear their wake word. It's like having a tiny security guard in your living room, constantly on alert for a specific phrase. However, this convenience comes with a price: your privacy. While these companies assure us that our conversations are only recorded and analyzed after the wake word is detected, there have been concerns. What if hackers could bypass these safeguards? What if they could turn your smart speaker into a listening device without your knowledge? These are not just hypothetical questions. As we'll see, there are real methods hackers can use to exploit these devices and potentially access your private conversations. And that's what makes the increasing presence of smart speakers in our homes both exciting and a little bit frightening. Let's face it, hackers are a resourceful bunch. They're always on the lookout for new vulnerabilities to exploit, and smart speakers with their always-on microphones present a tempting target. But how exactly would a hacker go about turning your Echo or Google Home into a spy device? There are a few sneaky tricks up their sleeves. One common method is through malicious apps. Remember those fun games and skills you can enable on your smart speaker? Turns out not all of them are created equal. Some might be cleverly disguised traps designed to grant hackers access to your device. Another popular tactic is exploiting weaknesses in your Wi-Fi network. Think of it like this. Your Wi-Fi is the front door to your smart home. If that door is left unlocked, it's much easier for unwanted guests to sneak in and wreak havoc. Hackers can use various techniques to infiltrate your network and potentially gain control of your smart speaker. And then there are the more exotic methods like laser attacks. Believe it or not, hackers can use lasers to send inaudible commands to your smart speaker's microphone, effectively controlling it remotely. It might sound like something straight out of a James Bond film, but it's a real threat. These are just a few examples of the many ways hackers can exploit smart speakers. And as these devices become more sophisticated, you can bet that the hackers will be working just as hard to stay one step ahead. We all love downloading new apps and games. It's like getting a little present for your phone, or in this case your smart speaker. But here's the thing, some of these apps are like wolves in sheep's clothing. They might look harmless, even fun, but underneath, they could be harboring malicious code. Think of it like this, you're at a party, and someone offers you a delicious-looking cookie. You wouldn't think twice about taking a bite, right? But what if that cookie was laced with something harmful? You'd never know until it was too late. That's what phishing apps are like. They lure you in with promises of entertainment or convenience, but once you've given them permission to access your device, they can wreak havoc. They could steal your personal information, spy on your conversations, or even turn your smart speaker into a botnet, a network of infected devices used for malicious purposes. The scary part is, these malicious apps can be surprisingly hard to spot. They often masquerade as legitimate offerings, complete with convincing names and descriptions. That's why it's crucial to be extra cautious when downloading anything onto your smart speaker. Stick to reputable developers and always read the reviews before hitting that install button. Remember, when it comes to your privacy, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Section 5, Wi-Fi weakness, a gateway for hackers. We all love the convenience of Wi-Fi. It's the invisible magic that connects us to the internet, allowing us to browse the web, stream movies, and control our smart homes. But like any kind of magic, it has its dark side. If not properly secured, your Wi-Fi network can become an open invitation for hackers to waltz right into your digital life. Imagine your Wi-Fi network as a castle and your devices, including your beloved smart speaker, as the inhabitants. A strong, unique password is like having a sturdy gate and vigilant guards, keeping unwanted visitors at bay. But a weak password? That's like leaving the drawbridge down and the gate wide open, practically begging for trouble. Once hackers breach your Wi-Fi defenses, they can intercept the data flowing between your devices and the internet. This means they could potentially eavesdrop on your conversations through the smart speaker, steal your personal information, or even hijack your device to launch attacks on others. The good news is, securing your Wi-Fi is relatively simple. Start by choosing a strong, unique password that's not easily guessable. Enable network encryption to scramble your data, making it much harder for hackers to decipher. And if your router supports it, consider setting up a guest network for visitors, keeping your main network and its connected devices safer. Remember, a little bit of Wi-Fi hygiene can go a long way in protecting your privacy and keeping those pesky hackers at bay. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this next one might sound like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but trust me, it's all too real. Hackers have figured out a way to inject commands into your devices using nothing but lasers. You heard that right, lasers. It sounds crazy, but it all comes down to the way microphones work. These tiny components, found in everything from your smartphone to your smart speaker, convert sound waves into electrical signals. These signals are then interpreted by the device, allowing it to hear and respond to your voice. Now here's the kicker. Hackers can exploit this mechanism by firing lasers at a microphone's diaphragm. By modulating the intensity of the laser beam, they can create sound waves that the microphone picks up and converts into electrical signals. The device then interprets these signals as legitimate commands, even though no audible sound was ever produced. This technique, known as light commands, has been successfully used to control a variety of voice-activated devices, including smart speakers. Researchers have demonstrated how they could unlock smart locks, open garage doors, and even make online purchases, all by shining a laser beam at a vulnerable device. While this type of attack requires specialized equipment and knowledge, it highlights the importance of securing your devices against all potential vulnerabilities. After all, in the world of cybersecurity, what seems like science fiction today could be tomorrow's reality. You might be thinking, okay, that's all very interesting, but has anyone actually hacked a smart speaker in the real world? Well, buckle up, because the answer is a resounding yes. In fact, there have been several high-profile cases that prove these devices are far from immune to the wiles of determined hackers. Back in 2019, researchers discovered a vulnerability in Google Home devices that allowed them to eavesdrop on users. By exploiting a flaw in the way these devices handle Bluetooth connections, the researchers could remotely install a rogue app that turned the speaker into a listening device. They could then stream audio from the device to their own server, effectively turning it into a spy bug. In another case, security researchers found a way to hijack Amazon Echo devices by sending malicious audio commands through the device's own speakers. By playing back carefully crafted audio recordings, they could trigger the device's voice assistant and issue commands without the owner's knowledge. And these are just the tip of the iceberg. As smart speakers become more ubiquitous, you can bet that hackers will continue to find new and creative ways to exploit them. The lesson here is clear. These devices, while incredibly convenient, can also pose a serious risk to your privacy if not properly secured. Okay, so we've covered the scary stuff, but don't unplug your smart speaker just yet. There are plenty of practical steps you can take to protect your privacy and make it much harder for hackers to target your device. First and foremost, choose a strong, unique password for your Wi-Fi network. This is your first line of defense against any kind of cyber attack, so don't skimp on security. Enable two-factor authentication whenever possible, adding an extra layer of protection to your accounts. Be extremely cautious about the apps and skills you enable on your smart speaker. Stick to reputable developers and avoid anything that seems suspicious. Regularly review the permissions you've granted to these apps and revoke access for any that you no longer use. Keep your device's firmware up to date. Manufacturers often release updates that patch vulnerabilities and improve security, so don't ignore those notifications. Consider muting your smart speaker's microphone when you're not using it, just to be on the safe side. These simple steps can significantly reduce your risk of becoming a victim of a smart speaker hack. Remember, the best way to protect your privacy is to be proactive and stay informed about potential threats. The world of technology is constantly evolving, and so are the methods hackers use to exploit vulnerabilities. Smart speakers, while incredibly convenient, are not immune to these threats. But by staying informed and taking practical steps to secure your devices, you can significantly reduce your risk and enjoy the benefits of these gadgets without compromising your privacy. Remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about the potential risks associated with smart speakers, the better equipped you'll be to protect yourself. Keep an eye out for news and updates about security vulnerabilities and best practices for securing your devices.